Chapter 7. The House by the Sea. "Oh, Anne Marie," Ellen said, with awe in her voice, "it is beautiful." Anne Marie looked around and nodded her head in agreement. The house and the meadow and the meadows that surround it were so much a part of her childhood, a part of her life, that she didn't even look at it, this part of her life, with fresh eyes. But now she did, seeing Ellen's pleasure, and it was true. There they were beautiful. The little red-roofed farmhouse was very old. Its chimney was crooked, and even the small shuttered windows tilted at angles. A bird's nest, wispy with straw, was half hidden in the corner where the roof met the wall above the bedroom window. Nearby, a gnarled tree was still speckled with a few apples, now long past ripe. Mamma and Christy had gone inside, but Anne Marie and Ellen ran across the high grass meadow, through to the late wildflowers. From nowhere, a gray kitten appeared and ran beside them, pouncing here and there and up and imagined mice, pausing to lick its paws and then darting off again. It pretended to ignore the girls, but looked back often to be sure that they were still there, apparently pleased to have playmates. The meadow ended at the sea, and the gray water licked there at damp brown grass flattened by the wind and bordered by the smooth, heavy stones. "I have never been this close to the sea," Ellen said. "Of course you have. You've been to the harbor at Copenhagen a million times." Ellen laughed. "I mean the real sea. The way it is here, open like this, a whole world of water." Emery shook her head in amazement. To live in Denmark, a country surrounded by water, and never to have stood at its edge? "Your parents really are city people, aren't they?" Ellen nodded. "My mother is afraid of the ocean," she said, laughing. "She says it's too big for her, and it's too cold." The girls sat on a rock and took off their shoes and socks and tiptoed across the damp stones and let the water touch their feet. It was cold. They giggled and stepped back. Amory leaned down and picked up a brown leaf that floated back and forth with the movement of the water. "Look," she said, "this leaf may have come from the tree from Sweden. It could have blown from a tree into the sea and floated all the way across the sea over there." She's pointing. "See that land? See way across there? That's Sweden." Ellen cupped one hand over her eyes and looked across the water at the misty shoreline. That was another country. "It's not so very far," she said. "Maybe," Anne-Marie suggested. "Standing over there are two girls just our age, looking across, saying, 'That's Denmark.'" They squirmed into their hazy distance as if they might see Swedish children standing and looking back, but it was too far. They saw only the hazy strip of land and two small boats bobbing up and down in the gray ruffles of separating the water. "I wonder if one of those is your Uncle Henrik's boat," Ellen said. "Maybe. I can't tell. They're too far away. Uncle Henrik's boat is named the Ingeborg," he told Ellen, "for Mamma." Ellen looked around. "Does he keep it right here? Does he tie it up so it doesn't float away?" Amory laughed. "Oh, no. In town. There's a harbor. There's a big dock. And all the fishing boats go and come from there. That's where they unload their fish. You should smell it at night when they all are there, anchored in the harbor." "Anne Marie! Ellen!" Mamma's voice came across the meadow. The girls looked around and saw her, waving her arms to them. She turned and picked up her shoes and began walking to the house. The kitten, who had settled uncomfortably on the stony shore, rose immediately and followed them. "I took Ellen to show her the sea," Amory explained when they reached the place where Mamma waited. "She's never been so close before. We started to wade, but it's too cold. I wish we had come in the summer when we could swim." "It's cold even then," Mamma said. She looked around. "You didn't see anyone, did you? You didn't talk to anyone?" Amory shook her head. "Just the kitten." Ellen had picked it up and lay purring in her arms, and she stroked with a small head and talked to it softly. I meant to warn you. You must stay away from people while we're here." "But there's no one around here," Amory reminded her. Even so, if you see anyone at all, even someone you know, one of Henrik's friends, it is better you come into the house. It's too difficult, maybe even dangerous, to explain who Ellen is." Ellen looked up and bit her lip. "There aren't soldiers here, too?" she asked. Mamma sighed. "I'm afraid there are soldiers everywhere, especially now. This is a bad time. Come in now and help me fix supper. Henrik will be home soon. Watch the step there, though. It's loose. Do you know what I have done? I found enough apples for applesauce. Even though there's no sugar, the apples are sweet. Henrik will bring home some fish, and there's wood for the fire. So tonight we will be warm and well fed." "It is not a bad time, then," Amory told her. "Not if there's applesauce." Ellen kissed the kitten's head and let it leap from her arms to the ground. It darted away and disappeared in the tall grass. They followed Mamma into the house. That night the girls dressed for bed in the small upstairs bedroom they were sharing, the same bedroom that had been Mamma's when she was a little girl. Across the hall, Christy was already asleep in the wide bed that had once belonged to Anne-Marie's grandparents. Ellen touched her neck, soft, after she had put on Anne-Marie's flower-sprigged nightgown, which Mamma had packed. "Where's my necklace?" she asked. "What did you do with it?" "I hid it in a safe place," Anne-Marie told her. "A very secret place where no one will ever find it, and I will keep it there for you until it's safe for you to wear it again." Ellen nodded. "Papa gave that to me when I was very small," she explained. She sat down on the edge of the old bed, ran her fingers along the handmade quilt that covered it. The flowers and the birds were faded now. It had been stitched onto the quilt by Anne Marie's great grandmother many years before. "I wish I knew where my parents were," Ellen said in a small voice. She outlined the applique of the bird with her finger. Anne Marie didn't have to have an answer for her. She patted Ellen's hand, and they sat together silently. Through the window they could see a thin, round slice of the moon appear through the clouds against the pale sky. The Scandinavian night was not very dark yet, though soon, when the winter came, the night would be not only dark but very long. Night skies beginning in the late afternoon and lasting through morning. From downstairs they could hear Mamma's voice and Uncle Henrik's talking, catching up on the news. Mamma missed her brother when she hadn't seen him for a while. Anne Marie knew they were very close. Mamma always teased him gently for not marrying. She asked him, laughing, when they were together, whether he had found a good wife yet, one who will keep the house tidier. Henrik teased back and told Mamma that she should come to Gilligalee to live again, and then he wouldn't have to do all those chores by himself. For the moment, Anne Marie, listening, it seemed like the old earlier times, the happy visits to the farm in the past, when the summer daylight extending beyond bedtime, with the children tucked away in the bedroom and the grown-ups downstairs talking. But there was a difference. In the earlier times, there was always overheard laughter. Tonight, there was no laughter at all.